So I just did a video on Govee's brand new Skyline kit, and I was blown away at how much I love the smooth RGB wall washing effect it had on the empty space above my TV. Now, I personally didn't mind what many have referred to as the clothesline look of the Skyline, but it got me thinking. If the end goal is to have some ambient RGB lighting filling up what's often a blank space above your media center, could I come up with a DIY type solution? Well, it turns out I could, and it turns out it was actually super easy. So without further ado, let's jump right in. I started by taking a 10-foot molding trim piece that I got at my local hardware store for $9 and cut the thick end of it at about a 45-degree angle using a portable table saw that I borrowed from my brother-in-law. Next, I went down to my gaming room, which is a work in progress, and I took down the Skyline kit to make room for this new DIY project. This came off super easy, but I won't be spackling in the screw holes left over, since I plan on putting this back up if I'm not happy with how my idea turns out. Now, my plan is to secure this to the ceiling, but unfortunately, I have this corner section on the left that sticks out, so I'll be cutting my molding piece down to size to fit the space. So I've never done something like this before, and it's all basically guesswork at this time. I really liked where the Skyline kit was shining against the wall, which is about 18 inches down, so I figured if I have a light shining from the ceiling at about a 45-degree angle, for it to hit the same spot, I would measure 18 inches back to attach the molding piece. I'm not 100% sure if the math checks out, but I figured it'd be close enough. One of the best investments I ever made was a brad nail gun. Besides being useful, it's just really fun to use. Now I'm considering this more of a trial run because if I don't end up liking it, these brad nails will leave such a small indentation in the sheetrock that you really only have to paint over them to make them pretty much disappear. But I don't want to drive these into a stud since the nails are super hard to get out without snapping them in half. So if you do want to have the option of taking this down with minimal work and repair, make sure to use a stud finder and stay clear of them. The trim piece is light enough to where you shouldn't have any issue with it staying put. Now for this project, I'll be using one of my favorite WLED controllers from Glidopto. This is running an ESP32, it has a built-in mic, you can use a barrel plug or bare wires for your input, it has 2 data output channels, 16 and 2, then for each of those outputs you have your voltage, data, and ground connections that are all equipped with a simple lever lock for inserting your wires. For the LEDs, I'll be using my favorite 24-volt Cobb RGB W strips. I've used these in a number of projects and they really are quite impressive. So if you are curious on how to get the LEDs connected and set up to the controller, I made a complete walkthrough that goes over every step in great detail that you can check out if interested. I'll make sure to leave a link to that video in the description if this is all new to you. Moving on, I'll be sticking the LED strips along the 45-degree angle that we cut along the wood. And if the lights do start to fall off over time, I'll probably end up buying some lightweight aluminum profiles that I've used in the past from Uzada, glue them to the wood, and then attach the strips to that. So it's hard to tell from here, but I ended up soldering my own 20-gauge silicone wires to the beginning of the LED strip. If soldering is a skill that you're interested in learning about, I'll leave a link to a tutorial video I made going over the easy steps with close-up footage and commentary that you can check out if interested. Going back to the project, and here's a little better angle of me continuing the install. And this is one scenario where it's not necessary to use a diffuser since the LEDs will be out of sight from pretty much everywhere in the room, and there shouldn't be any hot spots since everything will be reflecting off the wall from at least 18 inches away. I'm using a 5-meter roll of lights, so I'll have to cut these down to size like I'm doing here, and then finish up the end part. As far as my setup, I have a couple Govee floor lamps, I have an SK6812 strip inside the media console, this right here is called the Glorb, which is running WLED, and then I have the WS2814 Cobb lights that we just installed. I have my mini PC from GMK Tech plugged into the Govee AI sync box, which goes to the TV. The mini PC is my media source and it's running signal RGB so that all the lights connected to WLED can mirror what's on the screen. And if this intrigues you, check out the full tutorial video I did on Signal RGB and the WLED integration. Then the Govee floor lamps can connect to the AI sync box, which will also mirror what's on the TV. There's many different ways to mirror what's on your screen these days, but that's my current setup. For cable management, I'm not doing anything special but running the wires down the side of the closet trim pieces. I'll run the wires into my closet that has an outlet, which is where my power and controller will be. And if I end up liking how this turns out, I'll probably end up running everything behind the sheetrock, then into the closet for a cleaner install. Now quickly going back to the Govee Skyline, I did install it at the recommended distance, but there's nothing stopping you from setting this up as close to the ceiling as possible to make it almost as invisible as my DIY version. Then you would still get the benefits of moving the light 365 degrees, whereas mine is stationary. So that about does it for this quick little project. I'll leave you with the final results and let you weigh in on how you think it turned out.
In the fading light, my thoughts drift to you every night, 'cause there's something there I recognize. A flicker turning into fire, but it never lights. 'Cause I know once I cross that line, you could change your mind. And I don't ever wanna see you cry. So I live in misery, knowing you don't belong to me, while you're sitting right in front of me, longing for you to notice me. And this feeling is killing me, but I'd rather live in misery than to fall into your memory.